Here we go again.
Welcome to part 3 of the USS Voyager rebuild. Just to keep you guys up to date, I've seen the urologist today in regards to the issues that I've been experiencing with my bladder just of late. I've had a peak flow test done, which is kind of good. Bladder is still actually working as it should do. The only problem I have is with my prostate, because that has enlarged. When I was on medication for that, it did actually clear up, and then the medication finished, and I couldn't pee properly. So after seeing the urologist today, he's put me back on those drugs permanently to sort those issues out. So that's not quite so bad. Luckily enough for me, all the results come back. Everything's absolutely clear. I think one of the biggest things that they're worried about when you have problems with your prostate gland and also your bladder, they think cancer. Not that that was something that was actually in my mind, to be fair, but it's always nice when a doctor turns around and says, no, you don't have cancer, there's no signs of it there, it's just you're an old man now, so you got to put up with these problems, and here's some drugs to stop it from happening. So from that point of view, it's quite nice. I don't mind taking the drugs to keep it under control, because, as I say, when I was on those drugs, I could pee properly and everything. So I don't mind having those for that reason. Although he did actually say to me that if I have any further problems with it, then they will have no other option apart from removing my prostate gland. If I'm to be honest, that's something that I really don't want to happen. So let's just keep fingers crossed that those drugs that he's put me on are actually going to stop it from doing anything naughty. Anyway, let's get back to the model. So all I've done so far really to this is I basically, with this pen, I mean, it's got a very fine tip to it. Hopefully you can see that. So yeah, that's got a very fine tip to it. So all I've done is I've basically gone in all the windows that I want to remove, just to really get a better layout of how it's going to look. And I'm quite happy with the layout of the windows, to be fair. But I've also noticed, you hopefully, if we're lucky, if we can zoom in a little bit, you'll see, hopefully, just down these sides here, I've actually had to mark the kit. That's mainly because there's little, what appear to be runs in the plastic. It looks like, if you've left your airbrush on a part for too long and the paint's just starting to sort of wash down the sides of it, and that's the kind of effect that we're getting there. So again, I would really say that that's most probably due down to the moulds or the tooling that they use for this kit is wearing out. It could be that maybe at some point they've taken the tools out of the system to clean them up or whatever, and accidentally gouged them and not actually noticed or something. I don't know, but it's rather strange that they're there. The other things that we've done is I've basically marked this whole section here, because the whole of the bridge section is actually coming out, and that's being completely replaced with the Shapeway 3D printed parts. So that whole thing there is coming out, and I've gone around and marked off again all of the other areas where detail is actually coming off. to be replaced with better detailing. So we've got the top of the ship done there. We've also done the bottom. There's not much really, to be quite honest, that needs to be done on here. It's just these windows here that need to be removed, and that's about it, to be fair, on those. So we've done those, and then on the engineering section, as you can see there, we've got the windows marked off. And again on this side here, you just see there that we've got all of the windows marked off there for the fun of drilling out. Now I'm going to use the now acrylic powder and the liquid monomer to do these windows, and I found the right size masking tape. Cool, I couldn't think for a second then, and I think that is about 0.75 millimeters, something around that area. Might be a millimeter, somewhere between 0.75 and a millimeter. So basically what I can do is once I've got the windows drilled out and the liquid monomer in, I can then just use this as use this to mask the windows off when I do the painting. So hopefully that should be alright. So I'm just going to keep that to one side so I don't lose it, and at least I know that that's going to be there. So yeah, all I've really got to do at the moment, to be fair, is I think the first thing I'm going to do with this actually is just drill out all the windows, get those drilled out, sort out the areas where the moulding has got the defects in it, and then following that I will then move over to the next part, which is basically removing the bridge and all the other bits and pieces that need to be removed in order to fit the new parts in. One of the other things that I've done as well, actually thinking about it, is I've marked off all of the let's pan that out a little bit now. Well, wrong way. I always do it the wrong way. There we go, that's a bit better. So yeah, we've drilled out I've marked off the thruster areas as well that need to come out. So I'm going to need to consult the instructions for the Photo Etch kit just to see how much of those I need to cut out, because I'm not sure whether I need to cut out the inner part of the moulding there for the kit, or whether that needs to stay there. And if the whole lot needs to be removed, then that's not going to be too much of a biggie to deal with, to be fair. But at the moment that's about it. So as soon as I've made some more progress on this wee beastie, I will come back to you. Made some pretty good progress to the kit now. The primary hull is had all its modifications, well, not the modifications, it's had all of the groundwork done for the modifications. So basically on the lower hull here, we've as you can see there's a big hole. I didn't really need to make it that big, to be fair, because there's not really going to be a lot of wires coming out of the primary hull into the engineering hull. So yeah, we didn't really need to make it that big, but never mind. It's just going to help some light from the primary hull sink into here and vice versa, really. We will need to put a strip of LEDs down this side and this side for the lights that are going to be in the primary hull there. We're also going to need to make a little brick wall, not a brick wall, sorry, a wall of styrene, should I say, that's going to separate the deflector dish array from the rest of the kit, because I'm basically going to use the blue LED tape in there for them, so that'll help that, and I'll more than likely then fill up the gap with some cotton wool to help diffuse the light as well, just so it's not really that bright. Although I was happy with how the deflector array looked on the previous kit, it could do with a little bit of dampening because it was just a little bit too bright. So I might put some cotton wool in there. I'll just experiment, see what happens. If it looks good with the cotton wool in, then I'll leave it there. I've removed the cargo hatches as well from the primary hull, and I think, to be quite honest, I shouldn't have done that. We've got the photo etch for it, and I really didn't read the instructions properly, to be fair, so I might have actually made myself a little bit more work. There are a few parts on here where all you need to do is actually remove the surface detail, especially for the deflector array, the dish that goes into that. You only remove the detail, and that's it. So I hope that by doing that, I've done that right. If not, then, well, basically all I'm going to need to do is make a template for some styrene stock card, and then just insert that so it's just below the surface, and then I can actually then glue on the photo etch on top of that. So it's, if anything, all it's going to do is just create a little bit more work for me. So we've not lost anything, we've not ruined anything, so it doesn't really matter, to be quite honest. And then all I need to do on the other side, if I wanted to, is just put some tulip in on from the other side, just to ensure that no light is going to escape. Also removed all of the details that was there, the little square things that were not really square at all, and each one was a different size. The photo etch will be replacing that, and again, same at the front there as well. And then we've also drilled out the windows, not all of them, but we've got some windows drilled out there. We've also removed the thrusters as well from the hull. Again, that's going to be photo etch that covers those, so that will actually, the photo etch will, the lip of it will just sit just over the plastic there on all of them, so that's not too bad really, to be fair. We've also drilled the hole out there, and also one just there, and also just there. You're not going to be able to see them, to be fair, because they're only 0.5mm thick. There for the anti-collision light that goes at the front, and also the navigation lights that go there as well. So they don't need to be any bigger than the 0.5mm, because we're going to have the old SMDs sitting directly over those holes, and because the SMDs are quite small, you don't need a big hole, because otherwise the SMDs are just going to continually fall through the hole. And I'd rather actually have them anchored solidly to the plastic. And plus the fact, to be fair, because the SMDs are quite bright in themselves anyway, I mean, yes, you can use resistors to actually decrease the amount of power that's going through them, but you can kind of get away with using sort of like a 460 or something like that for the resistor, or 1000, or a 2700 I think it is, which will dim the light down enough, but by the time you've actually put the little cap of crystal clear glue on those, that's going to actually help brighten the whole thing up anyway, so that'll bring them to the correct size that they need to be. But as I say, I just don't want massive holes that the SMDs could literally fall through and cause all sorts of problems. So I'd just rather do smaller holes and then use the microcrystal clear glue. It's a glue. Can't speak. Yeah, rather use the crystal clear glue to actually increase the size of the lights, and then that way they don't look too obvious either, to be fair, because I think that's one of my bugbears, is the lights on these. Sometimes, you know, you look at some kits that have been built and they actually use a 3mm LED, and it's like, wow, that's oversized. It's just one of my little bugbears, I think, to be fair. So that's that bit. Let's bring in the top half of the primary hull. On here you can again see that there's some work been done. The first and most obvious part really is the bridge has been removed. Now unfortunately, in removing the bridge, we've actually widened the hole. because basically when I removed it, all I did was I used basically the blade, or the back of the blade, and just used that to score around it and move it. But unfortunately I didn't really think about it when I did it, so I just went around the edge that way. What I should have really done is had the blade at an angle and gone around the side of the bridge itself, because in that way it would have left more meat on the sides. But again, all I need to do really is just build up the sides with a bit of styrene, and then I'll put it back, and that will then be hidden by the replacement bridge anyway, so it doesn't matter too much, to be fair. Again, it's just a learning curve. I've never really worked with the 3D printed parts, so I wasn't quite sure that, you know what, I just kind of picked away and went with it, and I think that's all you can do. If I was to ever build another one of these, I would go in sideways rather than downwards. So lesson learnt there really, I guess. We've also widened this gap by I think it's 3mm towards the back of the ship. Just need to then get a piece of styrene in there to make the gap to the right size for the sensor band to go in. We've also, just there, as you can see, we've made a bit of a hole, and that is basically because this was too narrow, and the gap on this side wall here wasn't as big as it is on the kit. So I've actually widened that back out to what should be its natural size. So again, just need to build that back up with some styrene, and then put some tulip on the inside to be able to light block the whole thing. Because on this part here, I'm just going to use basically the thinnest stock styrene that I've got, and I think that's about 1/2 mil thick, or less than that actually, to be fair. I think it could be about 1/4 millimeter thick, I believe. I'm not sure, but light goes through it, passes through it quite quickly. We've also again removed the thrusters from both sides, and again, once the thrusters, or once the two whole halves are together, oh, I sounded like I was from Essex then. Once the whole halves are together, and then we've got the thrusters in, they just sit on the surface there. We've also got a whole heap of windows removed on both sides. Again, all I did was just drilled those with my vice grip, and then went back in with the number 11 blade, and then just cut the rest of the material out. I've always preferred doing my windows with a vice grip, to be fair. I know if you're using the acrylic nail powder and liquid monomer, it doesn't matter how big they are, because you can then just use some masking tape to actually get them back to the original size. But for me, I don't know what it is, but I just prefer to work within the confines of the windows themselves. So if any of the windows do look slightly out of place, or well, not out of place, but out of shape, you can kind of twiddle with them a bit and to get them into the correct shape, and then just use masking tape from there. I personally believe it uses or causes less issues further down the road if you only drill them out to the circumference that they are, rather than making them really, really big and then having a few problems afterwards. So they've been done. Again, we've moved all the detail from there, those little squares that were up there, and also down that side and down that side. They'll be replaced with a photo etch. Sorry, excuse me. These little lifeboats hatches that are on the top of the B deck, I'm not sure whether I'm going to leave them there, to be fair, or whether I'm going to remove them and replace them with a photo etch. I know I am going to have photo etch squares left over, because on the bridge itself, hopefully you can, whoop, there we go, bring that back into the light. You've got these little squares here. Now I won't need to use the photo etch for that, because the 3D printed bridge have got all of those details at the right depth. which means I've then got little photo etch parts left over, which means that I should hopefully be able to use them from there. The only thing that I would say is that with the green strawberry photo etch set, it doesn't appear to be that they have the extra lifeboat hatches that are on the sides there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to recycle the ones that are on the other kit that's all busted up, clean them up, and use those. A little bit of responsible recycling as well going on here. So yeah, that's how I'm going to do that. So hopefully I'll be able to use those photo etch parts for there, which will be quite good. We have also drilled out the holes at the front there, and then you've also got one on the side down there, and also down there for the navigation lights and the anti-collision lights. And again, only drilled to 0.5 mil because, well, explained before. I'm not going to go back over that again. The only other slight modification that I need to do is at the top on this part here. I need to get the floodlight in. Now, unfortunately, the floodlight itself can't bend down here, which is where the ship name and registry is going to be. You just can't get the light to bend down like that because that was all done by CGI. But I still like that in there, and plus the fact what I think I'm going to do, whereas before I had a single LED in there, I think this time around I'm going to use 2 LEDs and put them in a slight V shape, so you get that V shaped fan of light coming out. I think that would actually look a little bit better, to be fair. And again, not going to take that long to do really. The other thing that needs to be done is we've got ribbon detail that needs to be put on up these parts and also on that side, and there's also going to be some that goes up here and also on that side as well, but I'll do that kind of last really because I need all the other bits and pieces in place before I can do those, because it does rely on the location of the little square bits that are on both sides, and also for where the lifeboat hatches are as well. I can't really think of anything else that's been done. Oh no, here we go. Yeah, sorry, we've got the details for the transport emitters removed as well. It's just like a little hump that you would put the decals onto, but because we've actually got the photo etch transporter emitters, you just have to remove those details. So I've done that on both sides there, and also down here as well. Oh, I think that's slightly out of shot, sorry. Yeah, you've had some detail down there as well, so that's been removed. The other thing that we've done as well is we've removed the thrusters from this side, and we've also removed the airlocks as well, which the photo etch set does call for, and then we just replace those with a photo etch. So that's going to be about it on this update, guys. I will catch up with you in part 3, where we're going to be working on the primary hull. So until then, thanks for watching, and please do take care.